Makes you think that I'm an answer if you ain't mine. Even if you call me.
Hey, y'all know what this is. We back, baby. If you a real ninja, hit the motherfucking like button. You want to be a real ninja, hit the subscribe button, okay? Y'all know what this is. Age of the biggest, we back. Take this motherfucking mask off, man. Y'all know what this is, man. It pains. Oh. It pains me to make this video. Okay. Pains me to make this video because quite frankly, I am a fan of Jenna Ortega. Jenna Ortega has been my new Hollywood crush for like the last few months. All right. As you recall, I told you I watched the Wednesday show. And I said it was an amazing show. It was really good. I also told you it was a little woke. Not woke enough to be a problem. It has some feminist propaganda in it. And quite frankly, it only came from one character. And that's Wednesday. Jenna Ortega's character. Now we know why. We got to get into it. Make sure y'all are hitting the like button. Make sure y'all are subscribing to the channel. Make sure y'all are doing all the things that we need to do to be able to grow this channel and get the message out there. Okay, let's go ahead and dive into it. All right. We screw the headline. So basically what's going on here is Jenna Ortega went on a podcast and revealed that she had to change some lines to better fit the character. And we're going to see exactly what she's talking about. So first of all, let's start with this. Hollywood veteran Deknight is soft peddling shocking comments he made about Wednesday star Jenna Ortega being toxic and entitled. Matter of fact, we're not even going to go into this article because this talks about let's see. We're going to go into this article from the New York Post. Okay. So admit Jenna Ortega, and I'm surprised at this article, by the way. This is Johnny Oletsinki. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. But what makes Jenna Ortega think she can publicly trash her employer and get away with it? Everybody and everything. That's that. Such is the punishment-free, cowering in terror, you do you, be well world we live in. Hey, shout out to you, Johnny. Johnny sounds based. Johnny sounds super based. The 20-year-old star of Netflix's massive hit Wednesday, already a national treasure in her own mind, recently said on Dax Shepard's Armchair Expert podcast that her behavior at work was unprofessional. So she admits on her own volition that she was being unprofessional. Okay, but Ortega wasn't on a teary-eyed apology tour atoning for her sins. No, she was extolling her own rotten behavior as a virtue. On the podcast, the actress, who's also in Scream 6, discussed how, like an authoritarian dictator, she was self-appointed script doctor on Wednesday, and that she deserves the utmost thanks for the actual paid unionized writers for bettering their thoughtless schlock. She says, there were times on the set where I became almost unprofessional in the sense where I just started changing lines. Ortega said, proudly citing the sort of actions that would get anybody else in any other profession fired. Agreed. Man, my shoulder's killing me, y'all. Sorry. Ow. Son of a bitch. The script supervisor thought I was going with something, and then I had to sit down with the writers, and they'd be like, wait, what happened to this scene? And I'd have to go and explain why I couldn't go with those certain things. Some of those things, Wednesday being in a love triangle, it made no sense. There was a line about the dress she has to wear for a school dance, and she says, oh my God, I love it. I can't believe I said that. I literally hate myself. I had to go, no. Jenna, you're in a mediocre... He says, Jenna, you're in a mediocre spinoff of the Addams Family that's best known for a flailing arms dance on TikTok. Nothing about it makes sense. Bro, who is this guy? He is, everybody mark down the name Johnny Johnny, please let us know so we can get your name right. Johnny Oleksinski. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce it. I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names. But this guy is based. He says, Jenna, you're in a mediocre spinoff of the Addams Family, best known for a flailing arms dance on TikTok. Nothing about it makes sense. While I disagree, I applaud him for having the balls to do this. When the writers are saying to you, wait, what happened to this scene? You have crossed an obvious line and no longer doing your job. Agree. Ortega's egotistical nonsense is a throwback to Catherine Hill's perpetulance in the early days of Grey's Anatomy. The then 29-year-old Scarlett was also known for being difficult when, in 2008, she very publicly took herself out of the Emmy Awards contention. I did not feel that I was given the material this season to warrant an Emmy nomination. In addition, I did not want to potentially take away an opportunity from an actress who was given such materials. Right. Let's go to the Stephen Deknight. So Stephen Deknight, a producer whose credits include Buffy the Vampire Slayer and who isn't working on Wednesday, did, however, have the guts to call out Ortega, sort of. On Twitter, he declared her comments entitled and toxic, which they are, but then had to walk it back after an outcry from fans. Fuck those fans, but whatever, we'll get into that later. Ortega is fantastic, and the whole uproar is a learning experience for everyone. Diva behavior isn't new in Hollywood. No, I want to go to his comments. Oh, god damn it, they don't even go into his comments. Okay, hold on. 1 second. Okay, we're back. So here's Stephen Deknight. He says, I love talking with actors about their lines and stories, but by nature of the beast, they don't have the full picture in TV of where the story is going and why some lines are needed for the whole to make sense. Where's the rest of the tweet here? Anyway, she's so young. Maybe she doesn't know any better, but she should. She should also ask herself how she would feel if the showrunners gave her an interview and talked about how difficult she was and refused to perform the material. This kind of statement is beyond entitled, and I love her work, but life's too short to deal with people like this in the business. Whoa. So Stephen Deknight, he eventually had to come out and apologize or something like that. Stop apologizing to these people, but we're not going to talk about that right now. We're going to talk about Jenna Ortega and the overall problem with feminists. Jenna Ortega, it pains me to say that Jenna Ortega is a raging feminist brat. Okay, she is Kathleen Kennedy in a 20-year-old body. Okay, she's Elizabeth Banks in a 20-year-old body. Unfortunately, that really pains me to say that because I was a really big fan of her portrayal of Wednesday. I thought she killed the role. There were some lines in there that didn't make sense. She made comments about the male gaze and some other feminist propaganda comments in there that just was out of place. Like, okay, whatever. But and it didn't kind of make sense because Tim Burton directed this, and I don't normally see Tim Burton with feminist propaganda in his stuff, but the show was good enough to where you can ignore it. But now they've made Jenna Ortega the executive producer of season 2, and Netflix, you are making a fucking mistake, okay? All you have to do is look over at Disney, okay? What happens when you put feminists in charge? You get 2 big IPs that were historically money printers, Star Wars, Marvel. You put Kathleen Kennedy in front of Lucasfilm and she runs it into the ground. Kevin Feige is still in charge of Marvel, but he's hired more feminists, wanted to put more women in charge, more women on the screen, and what has he done? He's run it into the ground. This is not going to end well for you. You need to get Jenna Ortega under fucking control. This is highly disrespectful. This is highly unprofessional. That's from her own mouth. She said she was unprofessional, and really is good on the internet for calling her out for being an entitled brat. Because there's no way a 20-year-old should be coming in making demands like this. There's no fucking way. But that's what happens when you get these people who are bred. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's a red flag anytime a star comes in this young. There was a statement made by the Godfather, Kevin Samuels. Rest in peace to him. We are up on a year since his death, where he said oftentimes the advice he would give, the relationship advice and the life advice that he would give would not pertain to entertainers and like rappers and actors because they got their money differently. And what he was trying to articulate was that you know, in the business world, in the corporate world, you have to work your way up. In the entertainment world, it can happen overnight. Success can happen overnight. And what it means is that for those entertainers, you never have the opportunity to grow. Because if you're a spoiled, entitled brat at 20 years old, or let's say 17, 18 years old, in the case of Jenna Ortega, and you become a millionaire overnight, the money doesn't change you. It just makes you more of what you are. So what is a spoiled 20-year-old that's a millionaire? A rich, spoiled, entitled 20-year-old. Versus if you have the opportunity to grow and get through the industry until you're like 35, and then you become rich and successful. You have all those years of experience and humbleness and all the trials and tribulations of not being successful to know that you need to be humble. Well, that didn't hit Jenna. And as much as it pains me to say, if Netflix doesn't get control of this entitled, spoiled little brat, she's going to run the Wednesday show into the ground. I guarantee you she's already alienated a lot of the creators on this project. The writers, the directors. Tim Burton came out and had nothing but positive things to say about her, but Tim Burton is a veteran in the game, and so he knows that when it comes to women in the industry, having anything to say about them is not good optics. Not at all. And so I guarantee you, Tim Burton probably doesn't have the best view of Jenna Ortega. And to Jenna, you better tighten the hell up. Because right now, the industry is shifting. You see what Disney's doing, right? You see what Warner Brothers is doing. David Zaslav coming in, changing things at Warner Brothers. You see what, they recently canceled Willow. Listen, all this feminist propaganda bullshit. And I want to give a one-up to Elizabeth Banks, who did Cocaine Bear. She actually made a joke in the movie making fun of feminists. I'm not going to spoil it for you. Go watch the movie because it was actually good. Shout out to Elizabeth Banks. But the tide is shifting. This feminist shit is not working, bro. And the industry is figuring it out. So y'all better tighten the fuck up. Netflix found out last year. So, hey, but y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments. I will talk to y'all a little bit later.
Let's go. Hey, hey. Beat that thing down like you started attention, my baby. You had some plans with your man, just tell him to cancel.